Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be a real short video on a mud table that I constructed for my daughter's school, and it's made entirely out of pallets, 100% out of pallets. There's nothing else in here. And then this was a free sink and a free faucet. So the entire thing cost about, I'd say, $3 or $4 in screws and caulk for the sink to glue the sink in. Other than that, everything was free. Oh, and I did put a sealant on it, a weather sealant on it, a couple coats of that, because it's going to be outside at her school. The pallets came from Home Depot. Her school sent a letter requesting that Home Depot donate some pallets for the school, for the preschool, and they gave me 6 pallets. I ended up using, I think, 4 of them, tearing them down, and I took all the good pieces and constructed this thing. So it's, I've seen a number of these on Pinterest and things like that, but I've never seen one that's entirely constructed out of pallets. And it's basically, pallets are 4 feet in length, and this is right about 4 feet. And I made this one it's about 22.5 inches tall, with the frame itself I think is 22 inches, and with the cladding it's 22.5, and depth is 26.5, and that was to accommodate this sink. So yep, and let's see, I'll just give you a little, show you how it's constructed, the frame and all of that. The frame is constructed from the structural support of a pallet, and it's basically a box here, and the legs, of course, are again the structural part of the pallet, and so are these beams down here holding up this lower shelf. And then in the back, it's basically the same type of deal. These are single pieces from the pallet, the structural part. And I have 3 of them back here. And that's about it. The sink is kind of glued in underneath here. Don't know if you can see it, but there's silicone caulk there. It's kind of just set in and glued. And you really don't need too many tools to get this thing built. You need a variety of tools to tear apart the pallet. So I have a hammer and a couple wrecking bars and nail pullers and things like that. Actually, what I don't show here is a punch. You need, let's see, you need a punch like this in order to pound some of the nails out of the pallets. And here are some of the extras. You can see the main supports for the pallets are what I used as the framing for the mud table, the mud sink. So yeah, so you need that. You'll need a circular saw at the very least. I used a circular saw to help tear down the pallet, but I set up a jig on the compound miter saw to cut all of the countertops and shelves and backing to length. It made it a lot easier. It's not necessary, but it's just easier. And I used a table saw to rip this thin piece down here on the front lip of the sink. You don't need a table saw to do that. You could do it with a circular saw and some clamps. You could even screw this thing down to something and then rip a small strip off of it. That's one way to do it. You do need a drill and a bit to drive in the screws. I pre-drilled most of these holes because pallet wood is kind of cheap wood and it tends to split when you drive a screw into it. So I pre-drilled everything so it wouldn't split as much. What else did I use? I used the silicone caulk gun to caulk in the sink, and the faucet that I had was actually the bottom of it here. Those were really, I don't know if you can see it, but those were really badly corroded, and I used this whiz wheel with a wire brush to clean it up. You don't need one of those. You don't need a pneumatic whiz wheel. You can just use a regular hand steel brush to do it. It's going to take a lot longer, but it'll get the job done just the same. And that's pretty much it. So this is my take on a mud kitchen for a preschooler. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this stuff, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and see you on the next one. And we got to get back to this snowblower on the next one.